Well, good morning, my friends. Who all is in here? I see Sharon Wade. Look at that. Member for 7 months. Hello to all. Hope everyone is well. Woo! Good morning, Mama She. She was on panel yesterday for the Members Live. If you missed it, well, you missed a lot. There's Pat K gifting the memberships. I can't play the music. And I love the music. I'll have to sing. It's raining memes. Hallelujah, it's raining memes. Okay. YouTube sent me a nasty email saying that I can't use that music, even though it was only for like 10 seconds. So I'm having to go through and edit that out. And I'm not a good editor. I love it too. We'll figure out something else. I promise it'll still be fun. But thank you so much, Pat K. And I will make sure that you don't have to hear me sing anymore. So who is ready for the weekend? It is Mother's Day. Yes, it is. Mother's Day is my least favorite holiday of the year because, well, I lost my mother. So I do the best I can to put on my face and just enjoy. Enjoy. I won't see my kids. Well, I won't see my oldest son until probably Christmas, but that's a different story. He's in the military. But I'll see my other two, I think on Monday or Tuesday. Y'all heard that story on the Members Live yesterday. You know, you ask for just a little bit of help from one of your adult children, and you get slammed down real quick. And I'm like, well, you didn't change your own diapers, but here we are. So now we have a lot of confusion in the case of Sebastian. Of course, we know the drama, the toxicity. Oh, the drama. Well, Sebastian's not causing the drama, okay? Sebastian is not causing it. I'm not here to talk shit about Seth, and if someone has that opinion of him, that is their opinion. Of course, I have a lot of questions for the Proud Feet camp. That's not going to go away. True love has 4 paws. Woo, I'm telling you. Sending everyone love. Love to you too, my friend. We have an issue. And it's with this picture. Law enforcement is saying, no way, no how, no way in hell, high water, however you want to put it, this is Sebastian. Seth is getting drugged all over the place for saying he believes it is. Has anyone thought maybe this is wishful thinking? This is a hopeful heart? Or maybe ask this question. Why are the Proud Feets not inquiring about the pic? Traders, thank you for the super sticker. Will you be issuing an apology for the fake neighbor? What fake neighbor? I can bring up Chloe, who also spoke to the neighbor. If you know more than me, I would love to know. That would be very helpful. Chloe, would you like to come up? Because you also spoke. Speaking of fake, I hear that someone named Chris Proudfeet has a voice changer and was on another channel. Magnolia said this. Magnolia said, to recap real quick, Chris Proudfoot called into chlamydia and did an impression of Carl Childers from Sling Blade. Carl was a mentally retarded character. Imagine how he treated Sebastian. So now, why would he call into chlamydia and pretend to be Sling Blade? Why? Why would you bother Chlamydia's time and pretend to be this character from Sling Blade? I don't get it. Well, let's take a second and tell everybody I'm so glad we've almost made it to the weekend, and happy Thursday. Welcome your neighbor. Katie said, prank phone calls when his stepson is missing sounds familiar. Yeah, sounds just like Don and Candace. Don and Candace know a lot about chlamydia. Hang on, I just got a text message. Rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. Oh, I mispronounced it. And she looks like Ursula from Little Mermaid. I must check this out. Hold on. I love that movie. Hold on. Give me a moment. This is totally off topic, but I have to see this. Oh my. Is this the picture she uses? Is that the picture she uses? Thank you for the information. Wow. Nice nails. Okay. All right. Wow. Chlamydia has tentacles. Holy hell. Okay. Unless someone comes on pretending to be Sling Blade. I don't know what to do about all that. I don't know. Wow. I learn something new every day because of you guys. Man. Well, let's get to the comments and we're going to get to the show. We got a lot to do today. From our last show, Cuckoo Kachoo said, do you go to bed fully dressed? Long Adidas pants and a long sleeve shirt? In all caps, you do if you sleep in the damn garage. Can you get chlamydia in the garage? I have a lot of questions. Miss Tracy, some people were very upset about AB on the show on Monday. His opinions about Seth are his opinions, and I don't think there's anything wrong with people expressing their opinion. Miss Tracy said AB puts common sense in parenting, not only normal children, in quotes, but also children with special needs. I don't know why it hasn't been common sense in this case, and it's such a big divide on who is responsible for Sebastian's disappearance. It's black and white to me who is responsible. Peter Hyatt explains this case with his expertise on point. And he's pointing straight at that house. Straight at that house. Luna Girl said the F-bombs were used a little too much, but didn't offend me. People would rather listen and complain than just clicking off. Well, it's easier to do that than get chlamydia. Changes Forever said, just my opinion, but they have Sebastian in bladder diapers. He's locked in an area. So was this so KP could go do whatever? He had no other choice, I'd say, but to wear the diaper. My next thing is, how much did Sebastian really eat? She goes on to say, then you add the meds. Wow. Susan Susan Cogg said, can you imagine Sebastian not being allowed in the RV and don't touch my motorcycle? Mr. Chris says no. Mr. Chris says you don't touch my RV. Mr. Chris says you don't touch my motorcycle. You might give it chlamydia. Don't you do that. Susan goes on to say, I think Chris was jealous of Sebastian because Sebastian is taller than Chris. M. Dijon said, after hearing this, first, I do believe it's a neighbor. Some people have said it's not verified, and this is the first time today I had to really listen. This is making the story make sense. Sebastian, something happened to him at that house, or he was taken from there to a relative, I guess. I hope he's okay. I don't know. But I'm seeing a full picture here between CP and Sebastian being there, period. Ooh, a lot going on, my friends, and I mean a lot. Lot going on. Again, with this picture. I really thought this would have been laid to rest. I thought it was crystal clear. I thought this made about as much sense as the price of eggs in China. And for some reason, it's still being talked about. With Seth, I understand. Okay, I understand. Because he wants his boy back. Let's look at what Nick Barris had to say about the picture.
At first glance, the person in this photograph sure appears to be Sebastian Rogers. Is it? That's the question right now for authorities. The photo was taken at a visitor center in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina a week ago Saturday. A woman rushing to meet family quickly took the snapshot, thinking the boy resembled Sebastian. And later, after looking at it closely, she contacted authorities. Since then, investigators have been trying to get an identity. The key is locating the person in the photo to confirm it was not Sebastian.
Listen, there are people that are working very, very hard to find Sebastian. Very, very hard. Okay? I'm not talking about News Nation. I'm not talking about Nancy Grace. I'm talking about law enforcement. They want him found. This pic has been laid to rest. If Seth wants to believe it is truly Sebastian, I get it. I get it. It's hopeful. It's wishful thinking. Come on. Of course he wants it to be him. Of course. But when law enforcement says this is not him, and don't think some of these channels that have just started popping up are not from people kind of like Wells 2.0 that want people to quit talking about Sebastian. They were not expecting people to really care. And well, we do. Seth has another theory. It can only be a theory because he's not investigating the case. He thinks Sebastian was given too much medication. I don't see that out of the realm of possibility at all.
But so far, that person has not been found, so they cannot rule out the possibility that it might be him. Sebastian disappeared from his Hendersonville home more than 2 months ago, leaving barefoot in shirt and sweats in the middle of the night with nothing but a flashlight.
This is the system that we use to track all of our searchers.
A massive search effort of the surrounding neighborhood found not a trace of the 15-year-old autistic boy. Detectives have not ruled out the possibility of foul play or that Sebastian was taken or left the area. Eric Craddock, chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff, heads up the investigation.
we're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
The sheriff's office and TBI have received dozens of photos and reports of potential sightings. To date, all vetted and none confirmed. The latest tip now is this photo from North Carolina. Authorities hope the person in the photo or his family comes forward. And until someone does, the photo remains a potential lead. So what does Sebastian's family think of the photograph? I spoke with his grandmother. She tells me it's 50-50 as to whether it's him. And like everyone else, she's holding out hope. Nick Barrett.
She's holding out hope. That's exactly what's going on. Exactly. I'm going to beat this dead horse for a minute, okay? I'm going to beat this dead horse again. Grandma is holding out hope. Of course she is. Who wouldn't? Seth, we know. He wants it to be Sebastian. Who are we missing here? The mama and Sling Blade. That Danny DeVito lookalike that keeps calling into shows pretending to be everything, from that guy from King of the Hill to Carl from Sling Blade. What are they doing screwing around, as opposed to why would you not be jarred by this photo? Not gonna lie, when I first saw it, it jarred me. I'm like, oh my God, it looks just like him. My heart skipped a beat. Why are they not concerned? And I already know what I'm going to hear. How do you know they're not? How do you know they're not? How do you know they're not talking to their friends at the Harley shop? How do you know? How do you know they're not at the Cracker Barrel right now crying? Listen. Parents that want their children home aren't secret about it. They are not. No. Too bad. All right, I'm sure most of you have seen this, but we're going to go through it together. Again, Seth is holding out hope that this is Sebastian in North Carolina. My girl Tiffany, she said this is sick AF. Who plays on the phone in 2024 with a missing child? He's sick. We've seen it before. Summer Wells, Dawn and Candace would prank people knowing that their daughter is missing.
After a so-called sighting of missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers at a Blue Ridge Mountains rest stop, Sebastian's dad, Seth, tells us it's him. And with us tonight, live, Dad Seth Rogers to address that polygraph. Tonight, where is missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Thank you for this, Alicia P. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up, but you knocked down the barn door for me. Thank you. There have been horrible, horrible, horrible storms in the Nashville, Hendersonville, Clarksville area. We're talking bad flooding, tornadic activity. It's bad. Now just imagine being Sebastian out in that. Massive floods.
A woman rushing to meet family at the Visitors Center in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina takes a photo of the area and the people hanging around. When she takes a closer look at the photo later, she realizes that a boy in the photo bears a striking resemblance to Sebastian Rogers and contacts authorities. Investigators have been trying to locate the person in the photo. The sheriff's office confirms that they have reached out to North Carolina authorities about the picture, but so far, nothing credible has resulted from their inquiries.
Tonight, a mysterious update in the search for a missing autistic boy as a woman shares a photo of a little boy bearing an uncanny resemblance to missing autistic boy Sebastian Rogers. Take a look at it. Joining us, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are hearing. But first, I want to go straight out to Sebastian's father joining us, Seth Rogers. You can find him at hashtag Sebastian Strong. Seth, thank you for being with us. Seth, I was stunned when I saw the side-by-side of Sebastian and the boy spotted at the guest center. What do you make of it? And I'd like to see that side-by-side if possible. Go ahead, Seth.
When I saw the picture, I turned around and loaded up the vehicle and off to North Carolina I went.
Lauren Conlon is joining.
And he did. And he did. Now, remember, Seth is working on a different wavelength than we are because this is his son. So, common sense tells us you can't say that Katie OD'd him, over-medicated him, cute him, and that he is in North Carolina. Now, remember, yesterday, I'm going to play it. Law enforcement is saying that is not Sebastian. Is not. The family can still hold out hope. Not my permission. That's just how it goes.
Joining us, investigative journalist and host of the Outlier podcast. Lauren, thank you for being with us. What can you tell me about the sighting? Because the authorities are not saying it's not him. They are saying, quote, nothing credible is pointing to the sighting of Sebastian. In other words, they haven't been able to confirm it yet. Remember, this is like a rest stop, a tourist center. People are visiting there that could live in any of the surrounding states.
Absolutely, Nancy. And I think what's important to note here is that North Carolina authorities have not identified the boy in the photo. So as of right now, it's still considered a potential lead.
Guys, joining us is Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad, and Lauren Conlon, host of Outlier podcast. Seth, tell me what went through your mind when you first saw this photo. And when you compare them side by side, it's really uncanny.
My son's alive. Then he looks good in the picture. I mean, he's got clothes on. He's got shoes on.
Do you recognize the clothes?
No, I don't.
How about the shoes?
Don't recognize those either. They look brand new.
How far away? Yes, they do. In fact, the clothes look new as well. How far away, in your estimation, Seth, is this rest stop tourist attraction area from Sebastian's home?
It's about 6 hours, give or take, with traffic.
How did you become aware of the?
Okay. I'm going to pause it right there. You see the landfill search, Sebastian's residence, Natchez Park search. Seems like they were very concentrated on that. Alleged Sebastian sighting. I want to make it clear, law enforcement is saying it's not him. It's not him. I don't know how the family is taking that news. I, for one, would be beside myself.
the sighting, the alleged sighting?
People started calling me and asking me about the picture, and then people turned around and started sending me the picture.
And again, what went through your mind when you first saw it?
I gotta go. I gotta go up there. I gotta see. I mean, the picture's there. I wanted to go see the footage because I figured there'd be some type of surveillance.
And did you go?
I did. I drove up to North Carolina.
Yeah, he drove over there. We knew that. Joy's making it rain. It's raining Mims. Hallelujah. It's raining Mims. I can sing it. I just can't play it. Whoever did this, because that boy is the focus of the picture. You can tell. If this is AI generated, people need to really rethink this BS. I mean, big time. As a, in quote, creator, I can't quite help who grabs a link and comes up and talks. Okay? If I saw this, I'd be freaking out. I'd be freaking out. I'd be hightailing it down I-40 as well to figure out what's going on. And as far as the King of Cranes in court today with Nina, I just pray for the judge's wisdom. That's all I can say.
You took the 6-hour plus ride to North Carolina to investigate this photo. And what, if anything, did you learn when you got there?
That I wasn't allowed to see the video footage.
Why?
But I was told it's an active investigation, so I'm not allowed to see it.
Nancy Grace knows why. She knows why. Yes, it's an active investigation, and this child is a minor. I know several people have reached out saying, this is who the child is. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Because next thing you know, this poor kid and his mama are going to be on one of those chlamydia channels. I don't have time for that. His picture's already been splashed around the internet. It happened in the Summer Wells case too. Some poor little girl in Wisconsin, people kept saying it was her, saying it was Summer. Authorities had to go to her school, had to interview her grandma. It's not.
Who told you that, Seth?
People at the park.
It's my understanding the woman who took the picture was also convinced that this looked exactly like Sebastian and handed it over to the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and then later it was posted online. Is that your understanding, Seth?
Yes, ma'am.
Seth, when you saw this picture, how did it make you feel?
Gave me hope. It rekindled what hope I was losing.
Seth, I'm looking at the way the boy is standing in this photo. I know you've looked at it a million times. He's got his right arm somewhat over his stomach. And I'm wondering, does this pose look familiar to you?
By the looks of it, he's stepping down off the rocks and stuff. He's looking at where he's going.
Yeah.
But he's also been missing for 2 months. So his demeanor and everything could possibly have shifted.
In what way? Why do you say that?
I haven't heard from my son in 2.5 months. You know, if he doesn't have a phone with him, You know, he hasn't heard from me. If somebody convinced him to go away and won't give him a phone, I don't know.
Let me ask you, Seth, is it correct that your PI that you had to hire, which is a whole nother can of worms, spoke to the person that took the photo?
No. My other PI, Chloe, she's the one that spoke with him.
I couldn't hear you. What?
The other PI on the case, she's the one that spoke with him.
So a PI on the case did speak with the photographer, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the PI learn?
When she took the picture and why she didn't call 911 immediately, and what she did when she reviewed the picture, and the fact that she asked why she put it on social media, and it was because she stated that it was because TBI didn't get back with her after she had submitted it.
What else did you learn? Why did she decide to take the picture? And what else could she tell you through the PI about who this boy was with? What was he doing?
Nothing.
Was he crying? Did he look hungry? Was he with a man or a woman?
The individual that took the picture was actually her husband that took the picture, because he was faster with his phone than she.
And again, it's not Sebastian. If Seth is holding out hope, that is wonderful. Again, thank you, Little Bit, for the super sticker. Beverly, hopefully I misunderstood this comment. Not attacking the person, not threatening any person, stated it was my opinion. It's all right for you, but not for us. Thank you for nothing. Fine, Sebastian. I obviously did not see what you said, Beverly. You are more than welcome to have a conversation in here. If someone doesn't agree with your point of view, then you just let the chat scroll through. Very confused. Very confused.
He was. And they were driving by, and he took the picture. And then when they were able to look at it, they submitted it to TBI. They didn't hear back from TBI that they had received the picture or anything else, so they put it out on social media.
Guys, you are seeing the photo we're talking about. To Lauren Conlon joining us. Lauren, exactly where is this rest stop or tourist attraction?
So it's in North Carolina. It is the Blue Ridge Mountains Visitor Center. And like Seth said, Sebastian did not appear to be in this photo. And I think all of us are very hopeful. And I think it's amazing that Seth went to North Carolina and drove 5 hours from Tennessee.
Back to Seth. Did the man or the woman see who the boy was with?
No, they said they didn't even know if they were with the group or not. They didn't know if the lady was with them.
What lady? The lady in the pink shirt?
Yeah.
Did he emerge from a car?
They just saw him as they drove through where they're at right now was like the parking lot is behind there. Right in front of there is the entrance into like the gift shop. So him being there, there's no way to see if he was getting in or out of a car right there.
So he was on his way into the gift shop, Seth?
That's the direction that he's heading.
Well, that seems to me that there should be gift shop surveillance video or at least other witnesses. So is that the surveillance video you were trying to get, Seth?
Yes, it was.
Now, we know that a statement has been issued that, quote, nothing credible is pointing to any sign of Sebastian. That's pretty vague. Nothing credible is pointing to any sign of Sebastian. That's incredibly vague. It doesn't say this picture is a hoax, this picture is a fake, this is not Sebastian. They're not saying any of that. What do you make of that response, Seth?
That they don't know what to say.
Joining me, guys, also is Irv Brandt, renowned investigator, former U.S. Marshal Service, International Investigations Branch, and author of Flying Solo, Top of the World on Amazon. Irv, thank you so much for being with us. Now, this is a conundrum. If this boy is Sebastian, the way his father thinks that it is, I mean, look at it for Pete's sake. Look at the side by side. The chin, the jawline, the nose, the hair. It's uncanny. It's at a tourist gift shop in the middle of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a needle in a haystack. Irv Brandt, what?
Okay, and I'm going to stop it right there because it's not him. I wanted to hear what Seth had to say. Now listen, I don't know why Nancy Grace posted this 13 hours ago. I really don't know. Because law enforcement has been saying it's not him. Matter of fact, Nick Barris last week showed how you can generate a photo AI. Also, this boy's mother has come out and said this is him. I'm not going to say his name, but that's what's going on.
We also have new developments in the search for Sebastian Rogers. We're hearing from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office after a photograph with a rumored sighting goes viral. Now, I want to show you the image. This was taken at a North Carolina rest stop in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Now, some say it looks like the missing 15-year-old from Sumner County. However, after coordinated efforts with law enforcement agencies in North Carolina, the sheriff's office has determined that child depicted is not Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian was reported missing from his Hendersonville home February 26th, and so far there's been no evidence of foul play connected to his disappearance.
Well, according to Seth, something foul went on. A lot of people still think it's Sebastian, even though this kid's real mother has said it's not. You know, does anyone really blame Seth for holding out hope? I don't. I do. I actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to what this FBI agent was saying, just so we're all on the same page. Law enforcement is saying this is not Sebastian.
What do we do?
Nancy, the video, the picture, the way I see it, and if the father says that's his son, that's good enough for me, of course. But the investigation is going to center around trying to get anyone that was there at that time, maybe looking at video of the parking lot, running down tag numbers, trying to find other witnesses, other people that may have been shooting video and inadvertently captured his image on their video. I can imagine that the police are just, you know, the investigators in this case from multiple agencies are just searching all different kinds of avenues, looking for clues. And when they make a comment like no credible evidence so far, it's basically like saying no comment on the investigation. They don't want to say either way, but I would imagine that this is a crucial piece of information to their investigation.
Well, to me, and of course, I'm just a trial lawyer, the first thing I would do is pull that surveillance video the way Seth Rogers described, and I would go in and look for every single receipt. At the time that picture was taken, and the photographer gives us the time and the date that it was taken, every single receipt. Then I would find out if there's any surveillance video in the parking lot. Just find out if he went to a car, which obviously he did. What car? It's got to be on surveillance video. Agree, disagree, or rant? I mean, you're the former U.S. Marshal going all the way around the world finding people. What do you do next?
Nancy, I agree. I mean, the car is the most critical thing. If you can identify the car that he got out of, even if you don't have a tag number, the make and the model of the car would be just crucial to send out a bolo to the surrounding states, then potentially finding witnesses at that time, like you said, checking receipts in the gift shop and interviewing people that were there at the time, something that they may have seen. An autistic boy may stick out in their memory, seeing him, and they may have, looked at that person, at that boy, at the people that he was with, and if a skilled investigator asks the right questions to these people, it can lead to crucial leads in this case.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
We all remember that moment when I put Sebastian's father, Seth, on the hot seat on national.
Okay, I paused it right on Nancy's O-face. Yes, it was pre-recorded. There are several interviews that are all put together, some recaps and everything. It is not Sebastian in the photo. Wish it was, but it's not. Now, as we know, the King of Cranes has said TBI told him not to take a polygraph. If you have followed this show for more than one show, you'll know I don't care about polygraphs. That's what law enforcement uses. They're not even looking for a pass or fail, believe it or not. He said TBI didn't want him to take one. Is he lying? Because we know he's good at lying. He says that the dogs lie, but maybe he's the one pulling our leg. Now, by the way, if the popo asks you to take a polygraph, you have every right to say, nah, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't think so. No, thanks. He says they didn't want him to. Well, they didn't want Seth to. They know where Seth was. He was on camera all night at work. So what are we dealing with here? Why is Crane King playing games with everyone? Oh, sure, I'll take one. No, I'm not going to. They don't want me to. They told me not to.
National TV and asked him, would he be willing to take a polygraph? He said yes. He did take a polygraph. Straight back out to Seth Rogers. Joining us is Sebastian's father. And now joining us is a renowned polygrapher, Kendall Schewel, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C., former special agent with the FBI in D.C. He is at Kendall Investigations. Also joining us, Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth Rogers as he walks this very, very rocky path.
I still want to know how Tony got involved. How did he insert himself into this case? And I did send him a message on Facebook. We've been friends on Facebook for quite a while. I don't even know how it came about. If it's because he lives around Grand Lake, I don't know. Because, I mean, he lives about, an hour northeast of me. How did he get involved with Pascal? How did he get involved with Caleb Harris? I don't know. I don't understand it. So I guess I'm going to assume he just knows Pascal personally. Again, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, like some people say, it is what it is.
First of all, let me just get this out of the way. This is a yes, no, Kendall Schule. Did Seth Rogers pass his polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Okay, Seth Rogers, tell me about going and taking the polygraph. We want to hear every single word because I've got a stack of nasty online posts about you failing, about you not going, blah, blah, blah. A lot of trolls chiming in. Let's get to the truth of that polygraph. Seth, what happened?
I showed up early for the polygraph. Mr. Kendall contacted me and told me that he'd be there well before the time that we had stated. So I showed up and I sat in the chair and let him attach those things to me and took the polygraph.
Have you ever had a polygraph before?
No, ma'am.
And what kind of questions did the polygrapher Kendall Schule ask you?
I'm going to pause it right there. Wayne Kersey, nice to meet you. Wayne says they knew where Chris was all night too. Katie took a lie detector test and passed the test and passed it. So why blame the mom? Bless her heart. I'm not blaming the mom. All I have said about the mom is that she knows more. She has to know more because she was home. The same blame I have for Candace Wells and her mother. They were home when Summer disappeared. Is anyone in here directly pointing the finger or blaming Katie Proudfeet? She was the one home, Wayne. Of course she knows more.
If I had ever wanted to harm anybody, if I ever wanted to hurt my son, if I had ever hurt my son, if I'd ever had anything to do with his disappearance.
Question. You said they hooked you up. What do you mean by that, Seth Rogers?
They put things on my hands. They wrapped cords around me. They had a blood pressure cuff on me to measure my blood pressure, measure my heart rate, my breathing rate, things like that.
How long did it take?
It took a minute.
It took 60 seconds. Could you be precise?
Jazz says, I don't care what those tests say. Katie knows where Sebastian is. Woo! Wayne says, you are not blaming out, others are. And the blame was spell check. Could he have really walked out that door and she was asleep and something happened after that? I just don't understand how people are against her. I think it's just her lack of emotion, Wayne. I think it's her lack of not looking for him. I think it's just what we have heard. We do know that there is some sort of, I don't want to use the word abuse. That's too harsh for some people. Neglect in the home. some punishments that probably aren't good for Sebastian's upbringing, maybe. And to be the only one home, you would have to know more than just, hey, I was on the phone. I was on the phone for 3 hours. Sebastian went to bed and said, I love you, Mommy. And I just said, good night. No, there's more to the story. That's why people are looking straight at her.
Or more precise, how long do you think it took?
We were there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's about right. It's not easy. Okay, sit tight, Seth. And again, thank you for being with us. Out to Kendall Schewel, as I told you, former head of the entire FBI polygraph program in D.C. Kendall, thank you. When we put out the word that Seth Rogers would take a polygraph, we contacted you because of your reputation. You quickly agreed, and I thank you for that. Again, this was not free. He was paid to do the polygraph. He owes nothing to anybody, and therefore was not swayed one way or the other. He had never met Seth Rogers before in his life. Mr. Schewel, I've looked very carefully at your polygraph report right here. Number one, you start off by saying it was conducted using a comparison question format that meets U.S. government standards. What is a comparison question format? What is that?
It's a format that's well accepted by the polygraph community, particularly the American Polygraph Association. There are certain formats that we can use that are more acceptable, that we know are more reliable, and this was one of those. Certainly a test format that I would want to use to make sure we're doing everything right to get the correct results. And this is again a format of polygraph that is widely accepted as a standard in the FBI world and in the polygraph world in general.
Now, you also state that you used state-of-the-art Lafayette LX6, the computerized polygraph system. And I'm wondering, is that, for instance, when you get on an elevator and you see the last time it was inspected and you see the type of elevator it is, or you take a mammogram and you see the last time it was inspected and the type of equipment, machine that's being used. So you say the polygraph.
Okay, I don't want to think about my own mammogram, let alone Nancy Grace's, and I have no issue with her. Just thinking about her tit getting squeezed into a machine almost makes me constipated. If you know, you know. So he's basically explaining to us that the machine has been calibrated. That's what he's doing. He didn't fix the results or anything like that. That it is 100%.
Polygraph charts were the data was collected using state-of-the-art Lafayette LX6 computerized polygraph system. What is that? And please, dummy down for me. I'm just a trial lawyer.
And there are several companies that make polygraph equipment. The one that the FBI uses, the one that I've always used, the one that I believe is the best, is the Lafayette system. There are different versions of that polygraph equipment. It obviously is always has additions and corrections and made to it. And I started out with an LX4, I believe it was, went to a 5, and then the latest state-of-the-art equipment that Lafayette currently makes is the LX6, and of course we keep up with the proper software that's required as well. But that is the state of art. That's the best polygraph instrument, I believe, that is out there in the polygraph world.
Well, you had me at the FBI uses it. Is that what you said? This is what the FBI uses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Also, when I'm getting to the end of my technical questions, I like to lay a foundation before I get into the meat of the issue. The polygraph charts were evaluated numerically and globally. What does that mean?
It means we look at it globally to see if we see any issues with the collection of the charts, the physiology that's collected. We kind of get an idea, but then numerically means that we actually give a number to each relevant question that's asked, and we give it a plus or a minus. And there are certain scores that we believe have to be obtained in order to either pass or fail somebody, or call them, no opinion. But in addition to that numerical score that I gave, there are also 2 scoring algorithms that we use that the computer has that scores the charts, that way. And therefore,
Okay, hold on. Kendall Schul, when you start talking about algorithms, okay, you lost me. I said dummy down. You also said this opinion is.
Nancy, love you, home skillet, but you have a show on the internet. You 100% understand the algorithm. Obviously, he's talking about it in a different capacity, but just saying, you can use your own comparison.
Is applicable only to these questions, not to be construed as an assessment of Seth Rogers' truthfulness in other areas. That makes sense. You also state there are 3 outcomes. 1, deception indicated. 2, no opinion, and the other is no deception indicated. Correct? 3 choices, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Now, could you tell me what was Seth Rogers' demeanor when he entered your office?
We had a great conversation. Like you said, it took a long time. We sat and talked for a long time. I collected some background information from him to make sure that he's suitable for testing. In my opinion, he was. Then
whoa, wait a minute, boss. Suitable for testing? You mean he's not drunk or high, right? Is that what that means?
Exactly. Yep. And he wasn't in any.
Did you do the smell test? I've always wondered if polygraphers, like whenever my twins have to go somewhere on a bus or a school event, or even a plane, I always go up and speak to the driver or the pilot to just get a whiff if they've been drinking. So you assess the participant as.
That scares the hell out of me that she just said that. And I guarantee she did. Watch this again. Woo! Sniffing breath.
Suitable for testing. In my opinion, he was. Then
whoa, wait a minute, boss. Suitable for testing? You mean he's not drunk or high, right? Is that what that means?
Exactly. Yep. And he wasn't in any.
Did you do the smell test? I've always wondered if polygraphers, like whenever my twins have to go somewhere on a bus or a school event, or even a plane, I always go up and speak to the driver or the pilot to just get a whiff if they've been drinking. So you assess the participant as to whether they may be drunk or high or on meds.
There's other tests for that, Nancy. You know that. You know that damn good and well. The sniff test isn't going to work, okay? There's other tests for that. Blood and urine come to mind.
We do. We observe that, obviously, and we're in close proximity to talking to each other. If he had any alcohol in his breath, I believe I would have known it. Particularly when I'm attaching the components to him for the polygraph test, I'm right in his face. So yes, I would have observed if he had any alcohol in his breath.
Mr. Schul, you conducted the polygraph, and what were the critical questions that you asked Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father?
The relevant questions, as we call them, that I asked.
Let's clear this up. Seth was not paid to take the polygraph. He volunteered, as I said in comments. Whoever sponsors Nancy Grace, I don't know who her sponsors are. She's got a lot. Old Nancy isn't doing this for free. Let me tell you. Old Nancy doesn't care about clicks and views. Old Nancy doesn't care about those things. Nancy cares about the payday. All right? The clicks and views are for the advertisers, for those that don't understand. But whoever sponsors her had to pay this gentleman to administer the polygraph. That's our last TED Talk for today. Well, fingers crossed.
Asked Seth on the polygraph test to determine if he was involved in any way in this child's disappearance were, number one, regarding doing he responded yes. I then asked him, did you do anything that could have caused that boy's disappearance who we discussed today? The answer was no. And the third question was, were you involved in any way in the disappearance of that boy who we discussed today? He responded no.
Yes, sir.
Guys, you are hearing the former head of the FBI polygraph program, Kendall Schule, who polygraphed Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth. Now, before you ask these three questions, do you plan to answer truthfully? Did you do anything that caused Sebastian's disappearance? Were you involved in any way in the disappearance of Sebastian? Before you ask those, I assume you asked several lead-up questions to get a barometer of how the polygraph would respond to Seth Rogers, correct?
There were what we call control questions. You know, they might be, are we in the state of Tennessee? Is today Wednesday? Those sort of things. And those are the control questions that we get where we know he's telling the truth.
Seth Rogers agrees to take a polygraph exam if Nancy Grace sets it up for him. An appointment is made with an established polygrapher. Seth Rogers is asked many questions, such as, did you do anything that could have caused that boy's disappearance? And were you involved in any way in the disappearance of that boy? In both instances, Seth Rogers said no. Based on a review of the physiological responses recorded at the relevant questions during the polygraph exam, in the opinion of the examiner, Seth Rogers was truthful. No deception indicated.
No deception. Crystal clear Chinese eggs is what Nancy Grace is cooking for breakfast. Remember when The Rock used to come out? You smell what The Rock is cooking? NG is serving up crystal clear Chinese eggs for you. No deception was detected. Did anyone think that Seth really had anything to do with his son's disappearance? He was on camera all night. You want to say Seth should have done more? Seth's not doing enough now? That's totally your opinion. But we're talking about the disappearance of Sebastian. It doesn't get more dramatic than that. As much as people love to stir it and stir it and stir it and stir it, there's really nothing to stir. It can't get any more dramatic than the fact that this boy is missing. Then I think about this. Magnolia said, to recap real quick, Chris Proudfoot called into Chlamydia and did an impression of Carl Childers from Sling Blade. Why would he be pretending to be Sling Blade, as we know with the names he has called Sebastian? And my understanding is this Chlamydia lady and other people found it funny. They found it hilarious. I had someone that I actually really, really like message me and said, at least Chris has a sense of humor. It was really funny. Nothing funny about that. Nothing at all.
With us is Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father. Also with us is the polygrapher who took the polygraph, Kendall Schule, and Tony Mathis, who is helping Seth weave his way through this very difficult time in his life. And Mr. Schule, let me ask you one more question. Isn't it true that you attempted a polygraph on Seth Rogers before this polygraph?
I believe we tried to set one up, and it didn't go through for some reason. That he wasn't ready to take the test.
Back to Seth Rogers. This is Sebastian's dad. Isn't it true, Seth, that you tried to take the polygraph a time before this one and it didn't work? What happened?
I was on prescribed medication for nerve. I've got a pinched nerve in my C5 and C6 that's causing pain down my right arm. So they put me on prescribed medication for dealing with the pain and trying to get it to relax.
What med was that?
It was cyclobenzaprine, which is a muscle relaxer, and gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker.
Seth, you have been the subject of so much hate online. I don't understand it. I've got a stack of printouts of what people have put on Insta and Twitter and Facebook and blah, blah. For instance, this one says, we had a meeting this evening and one of the moms, her daughter is an intern and works with Nancy Grace. She said a rumor is that Seth failed the polygraph, total fail. And now Nancy's team is doing damage control. Nancy was cussing because she was in a, quote, pissy mad mood. She told them polygraphs are not reliable. And so we have to be fair and say it's inconclusive. Nancy's team was mad. They don't like him because he was rude not long ago and they refused to cover for him. This doesn't, we don't have an intern, but this doesn't even make any sense. We knew all along from the beginning that Kendall tried the poly, that you were on the muscle relaxers, and you volunteered to do it again. All of this is true. This is just one of hundreds of people attacking you. What?
They're going after Seth because he's the most visible. That's the truth. You stick your neck out on this internet. You stick your neck out on this internet, someone's going to chop at it. Someone is going to whittle away at it. Anita said, people should not be making light or jokes during this moment. Sebastian, a boy with autism, is missing. I feel for Sebastian and hope that he is found. Me too. And as you know, on this channel, we try to keep it as light as possible because this is not the good news channel. Very, very rarely, and I mean very rarely, do we come on with great news. It's always an update that gets us further down the rabbit hole. And Anita, I know you didn't mean that against me. I know you're talking about Crane King. Look at that face. Woo! That's a twins making face. Damn.
Why, Seth? Why?
Why do people get death threats for looking for their kid?
Kendall Schule, again, did you find Seth Rogers to be cooperative?
I found Seth to be extremely cooperative. He did everything I asked him to do. There were absolutely no problems with the interview that we had, as well as attaching the components and getting good physiology to show that he showed no signs of deception on this polygraph. I did a numerical scoring, as we talked about before, that showed that he passed. I also ran 2 algorithms through the computer that showed that he passed. I even went a step further when I got home and had another retired FBI agent that I knew come in and do what we call a blind scoring of these charts, not knowing who it was, what it was about, whether he passed, whether he failed, and he also agreed with my opinion of no deception indicated.
Over 2.
Chrissy said, CP even asked about the missing boy. What's his name, Sebastian, in the Sling Blade voice? And people found it hysterical. Hysterical. I had someone that reached out to me, and this person sends me all kinds of stuff from YouTube. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen that? Some of this stuff, I'm not going to entertain it at all. And said at least he has a sense of humor. It was really funny. Wow. I would have had a really hard time listening to that. I'd been pissed. Big time pissed. I just couldn't listen to it. I'm sorry. That's just me. I couldn't listen to it.
2 months into the search for Sebastian Rogers, a hope for a lead comes out of the town of Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Could a pair of pants found about 12 miles north of Nashville be related to Sebastian Rogers? It hasn't been disclosed where the pants were found.
In the last hour's mysterious update in the search for a missing autistic boy, Sebastian Rogers, after a woman shares a photo of a boy.
Okay, hold on. Bruno, I could see this. Bruno said, I thought it was funny because he's Don Wells 2.0. I get the humor in that. Like a whole, here we go again. Here we go again. That I totally understand. That makes sense to me. Like, yeah, here we go again. Wow. Isn't this great? Ooh, that's another twins making face.
Boy that is uncannily similar to Sebastian all the way up in the Smoky Mountains. This as a pair of pants, much like a pair of glasses, are taking center stage. Straight out to Lauren Collin joining us, investigative journalist, host of The Outlier. Lauren, thank you for being with us. Lauren, tell me about the pants.
Yes, so May 2nd, these pants were found by a volunteer that was searching, and they were sweatsuit style black, allegedly what Sebastian was last seen in. And authorities confirmed that they are unrelated, but they still said they've received, as of April, over 300 tips, and they are investigating all of them.
Okay, I want to get back to the pants. Did you say they were black sweatpants?
Black and sweatsuit style.
Sweatsuit style color black?
Yes.
Okay, where were they found, Lauren Conlon?
So it has not been disclosed exactly where, but Goodlettsville, it's 12 miles from Nashville. It's part of Sumner County and Davidson County, Tennessee, depending which side you're on. So it's kind of nearby Sebastian's home.
Back to Seth Rogers. This is Sebastian's father. You can find him online at hashtag Sebastian Strong. There is a GoFundMe to support him in his efforts. He's had to hire a private investigator, and he goes hours and hours and hours, day after day after day, searching for his son. He most recently returned from that rest stop we showed you where there was an alleged sighting of Sebastian. That's GoFundMe, Finding Sebastian Rogers Family.
Of course he would, Laura B. Laura said you should listen to the two ladies that called into a show yesterday about their certified dogs and how Chris turned both down. We have a lady in our community that has nationally certified dogs. Don't think that law enforcement uses the stray dogs from the Wells property. They have nationally certified dogs. They have one job. They're there to sniff one thing. Not poop, not pee. Well, sometimes they are. They know what they're there to search for. Crane King said the dogs are dishonest. They're dishonest. He went on to say you can't really trust those dogs. Now, hold on. What agency in America doesn't use dogs? Hell, they'll put them on a plane and take them to other countries. Local law enforcement, FBI, CIA, Secret Service, ATF, they damn sure use them. They bring them through schools to make sure nobody's hiding anything in their locker. Our military, dishonest dogs. Dishonest. Lying dogs.
Support. Seth, what, if anything, have you been told about that pair of black sweatpants?
That they are not related to my son.
Do you know where they were found?
I know that they were found at a particular park.
A park. A park. Do you know if they were the right size?
No. That's why they
Who
said
told
they're not.
you the information about the pants?
I received a text message from the detective.
Law enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay, question. Do you know what condition they were in, or if any DNA analysis was done for touch DNA, hair, fiber, anything that relate back to Sebastian? How did they suddenly decide, oh yeah, these aren't his?
They said that the size was wrong.
The size was wrong. Wasn't he last seen wearing black sweatpants as we were told by the Proudfoots?
Correct.
Seth, when you learned that sweatpants had been found but were ruled out according to law enforcement, how did that make you feel? What did that do to your will to keep searching?
And they said that those didn't belong to him. It just reinforced that North Carolina, my son was there.
And Mr. Proudfoot, you have volunteered to take a poly?
Yes, ma'am.
If I were to set up a poly for you, would you take it?
Name the place and time, ma'am. I'll be there.
And you're headed back to Memphis right now. Are you in your RV right now?
I am in my RV. We are not disclosing our current location just because of safety reasons, due to the YouTubers, the Facebookers out there that have sent some very heinous, threatening information and things of that nature, threatened to be outside of our house, all kinds of nasty things.
Lauren Conlon, question, to your knowledge, have the Proudfoots taken a poly, or are they, to your knowledge, have the Proudfoots taken a poly, and are they searching for Sebastian?
Well, Katie Proudfoot announced pretty early on that she did take a polygraph and she passed. As far as Chris goes, I cannot say that. There's a lot of misinformation whether he took one or not, and if he did take one, if he passed or not. And as far as them searching for Sebastian, they claim that they are working with law enforcement. So whatever that means, that's on them.
To Seth Rogers joining us, Sebastian's dad. Seth, How do you keep going with all of the hate, which I don't understand where that's coming from? How do you even put one foot in front of the other looking for your son?
He's my son. They're not going to stop me from looking for him. The world's full of hate. I choose to ignore it and look for the good. Finding my son is the good.
If you have information or think you have information regarding the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND, 1-800-824-3463. We stop and remember.
And I also have that number scrolling at the bottom. Credible information only, please. What we have heard on YouTube is not what's going to get the case solved. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with this case. And in about an hour and a half, we're going to be back. I'm posting the show right now, all together as friends. Finally, we are going to see the gavel come down and Teardrop will be sentenced today. And they pulled his ass up off his cot and they're bringing him in. And he's going to face the judge. Our friend Susan, hopefully, unless she's busy, will be on too, because we have been following this case for 2+ years. Drag him out of there. I don't care if he's constipated like Candace Wells. Bring him in. He needs to look right at the judge and hear his fate. So you guys keep your reminders on. I'm going to put the show in here again. And thank you for always hanging in here for the right reasons, ignoring that riffraff off to the side. No one cares about that stuff. No one cares about that nastiness. You guys are always here for the right reasons. I'm proud to consider you my friends and to see you here every morning. Sometimes, hell, we had 2 members' lives this week. Damn. I'm like, I've been busier than a 3-peckered billy goat up here. All right, you guys are the best. Mod Squad, thanks for keeping it cool and keeping it real. And I will see you back here in about an hour and a half, unless I come down with a bad case of chlamydia.